who's on stage? That's Freak with Sneaky.
Thank you very much, Griff. Great cast of the day. I know how that goes sometimes. I am here with Sneaky after a victorious 2-0. You mentioned to me it was kind of a fiesta. I would tend to agree. What went wrong with that game that made it so sloppy?
Well, the first game, there was some fight in River where everyone was level 3, 4, and then we didn't exactly get any immediate kills, and then we were trying to get, I think Tompkins was like the first to die from their side, so that's pretty bad since he's like the tankiest champion maybe in the game at that point in the game. So it was pretty rough. We lost out. Just kept getting a bunch of fights with Jarvan Oriana later in the game. And then second game wasn't as much of a fiesta early on, but it turned into a bit of a slugfest.
You got a nice easy first blood. I feel like that helps a little bit. Double longsword landing phase. So, speaking of sort of somewhat messy games, hoping to clean them up, you have Phoenix 1 as your final match. Only team you haven't beat so far this split, and they're likely to be a playoff opponent for you. Tell me sort of what you think coming into that match and how that's going to go for you.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. I'm never really sure if they're trying to play Medius or Inori. I think it's just mainly Medius now. So maybe we'll see the Dark Medius versus the Light Sneaky again.
You can get revenge in the second arc.
Yeah, I hope so. It was 2-0 last time, I think. So need to turn that around to counter a 2-0 for them.
Fair enough. Okay, I want to talk then just about bot lane in general, move off the games in particular. You were against the Twitch, you had a couple of Lucian games in, you brought the Jhin back out. Kind of talk to me about where you think the role lives right now. Like ADC 2017 memes were in the past, like how do you think they are right now?
Well, the Borg changes are pretty nice in general. When I initially saw them on like the PB notes, I didn't really think much of them, but playing with it, just that extra 15 AD and that little bit less attack speed, you don't even notice the attack speed, but the AD is super significant. Like you can buy it on actually any AD carry. I think I buy it over Bloodthirster, over Mercurial, like actually every game. And there's a lot of champions right now that build it first, like Kalista, Lucian, Twitch. I don't know about Twitch. I played him in solo queue yesterday, and he's so weak until like 2 or 3 items, mainly 3 items. So there's a lot of viable champions now. I don't know if it's going to completely shift. Lucian's come back, so that's a pretty big shift. But besides that, I don't think it'll like get too mixed up because Ezreal still builds Bork. The Lucian, I think Jin's still good, even though it's really low solo Q win rate. So it's pretty cool in bot lane, just the occasional season mix-up.
Have you seen the Korean Black Cleaver Ashe builds?
Yeah, I've seen that one. I haven't played it yet because I think it's just trying to take what works on Lucian and translate it over to Ashe. I don't think it's that good, but like I said, I haven't tried it. I haven't really seen anyone play it. Actually, I played it against a few times, but it hasn't really been a eye opener, a mind blower.
No mind blowing. All right, well, Sneaky, thank you very much. Congrats on the win, and we'll see you against Phoenix 1 this weekend. Let's toss down to the analyst desk. Oh, thanks, man.
Thank you very much. Freak, Sneaky, and Cloud9 going to be happy to get the 2-0 victory, but maybe not happy in the way that they got it. And before we get to the conclusion of this game, let's just start with Champion Select, because we had some questions about how Dignitas would respond in Game 2, knowing that they had crafted such a good early game in Game 1. And lo and behold, another pretty early game-focused team composition comes through.
Yeah, definitely true. And I saw a lot of people, attacking this team comp and like, oh, all the laners for Dig are attack damage, and it does definitely rely on Elise having a good early game. Thankfully, 14 Dignitas, Chaser went off, absolutely outperformed Contracts in this one. But it is definitely a team comp also. I kind of want to preview for the mid game when you're going towards those team fighting phase.
Right.
This is a team comp that thrives in open areas, right? Zed can perform shadow play and have tricks and jump back. Lucian plus Lulu is all about Lucian being fast and dip diving in and out of the team fight and the mobility there. Whereas the Cloud9 team composition with the Shockwave, with the Rumble ultimate, with the Zyra ultimate, so many things that they can control large zones with, thrive in the jungle. Don't necessarily want to jump into
doesn't feel like there's a ton of room for error here once you get into the mid game. Very high execution, as a lot of things are single target, right? Whereas you've got the Shockwaves, the Rumble ultimates, and the Zyra ultimate that can really take up space, as you mentioned. But let's go ahead and work our way through the game, replay status, and take a look at Chaser, the work he did in the early game. As you mentioned, that's what they needed to have done if they had any chance of winning this game. Flash Cocoon here to start it all out.
And remember, this is all after Cloud9 got that first blood before minions spawn. Yet Chaser's the one out on the field, ganks bottom, boom, gets a kill, ganks top, gets kill here, and then he camps the living daylight out of Impact up here. And
Yeah,
remember,
6 deaths early.
returning to the Champion Select, this is a Cloud9 squad. They throw 2 early bans at top lane, first pick a top laner, then 2 more bans at top lane at Someday again.
Right.
Someday's essentially had 6 top lane champions taken away. It's like, I'll play Kled. Great. Chaser goes, camps for him. He absolutely blasts them in the early game. And then Team Dignitas, once again, we have the same similar story here. Where
It was kind of like rewatching Game 1, just with entirely different team compositions. Pretty,
Yeah.
you know, the same issues still, you know, persisted here in Game 2 for Dignitas when we got to that mid and late game. Let's take a look at this 28-minute fight here. C9 going to catch out Dignitas a little bit.
So look at the mini-map. We're doing a vision toggle. This is a blind Kled ult charge ahead of the rest of the team. Zed, that is Keen, by the way, coming up from base while they're charging blind deep into the enemy jungle. Oh no, we got turned around. Remember where I mentioned you don't want to go into the jungle versus Rumble,
Tight corridors.
Orianna? You also don't want to go into the jungle with a 4v5 against that team comp. And those are the types of mistakes where they're throwing away these mid-game leads,
Right.
and they're costing them.
And that's only one example of a few that happened in that game alone. Team invades, or rather invades without the full team. People trailing behind. So I guess what I would say is, if there is a silver lining here for Dignitas, it's that the problem across both games was the same.
I like the faces.
It was
your body language is delivering a lot here.
I'm trying to help, in the sense that if I am trying to diagnose what's the thing that we need to work on the most, considering we still, or in the situation where we still do qualify for playoffs, at least we know what to work on very clearly, right? It's not that early game. We know how to make moves. Chaser's doing a lot of work, but that mid-game shot calling and team-oriented play needs help.
Yeah, definitely know what to practice in the upcoming weeks before their next game.
All right, but a player of the game is going to go to Jensen once again on that Orianna. Well, we had said that a lot of C9's downward trend kind of paralleled Jensen's downward trend in the mid lane. Well, I mean, I turned it around out of nowhere this week.
Exactly. Jensen just completely dominates this time around. And even though there are some situations where you're like, oh yeah, they're funneling into these areas that make it a little bit easier for him to perform on this.
Right.
It's not only that. During lane phase, it's the small things that we always used to talk about with Jensen, where his dodges, and he's dodging Elise cocoons, he's dodging all these skill shots in lane phase, saves his flash, and saves a lot of the momentum there in the early game. That plus the end game team fighting from him just definitely cement him.
And this is a big win for C9, looking towards playoff again, wanting to clinch that first round bye. Of course, we heard Sneaky kind of teasing the Phoenix 1 matchup, getting to play against Meteos. That one will be fun to watch as always, looking for a little revenge there in that series. We've got more league action coming your way though, so after the break, FlyQuest duke it out against Echo Fox. Don't touch that browser.
Turn off.
I missed ult. Zed's behind us. Can we get out?
Okay, get back.
Tight.
Yo, Zed. They're coming. Zed. We can fight.
I have shield for you.
Yo, lose that. We can end the game right now.
Careful.
Root it. Go.
Yeah.
Nice, good job. End the game.
Good job.
Impact with the inting.
I mean, I also.